welcome everybody to our Tactical Tuesday for November 16th. Can you believe it's November? Well, we can here in the Edmonton area. If you're anywhere in Alberta, I'm sure you're getting doused with snow. And there's a lot of other things happening across our country weather-wise right now. We know our friends in BC are undergoing a lot of issues out there too. So welcome everybody if you're here. We hope the best for everybody that is in tough situations weather-wise or being evacuated, all the different things going on. It's a crazy world that we're living in. But we're hoping today we're going to be interviewing a special guest. And we're hoping today what we're going to be talking about can actually relieve stress from our lives, make our lives as investors, as landlords, easier. And that's really something that is a welcome plus for all of us, isn't it? I see your comments. Hello from Guelph, Edmonton, the wet West Coast. Yes, it's been pretty crazy out there. So hello, everybody. Ottawa, Halifax, Whitby, snowy Saskatoon. Yes, all parts of the country. Great to see you here for our Tactical Tuesday. We have Sam from Singlekey here today, and he's going to be sharing some interesting tidbits about what they're able to do now, some new features, I guess. And so I'm going to just say this. I let Tiff take care of the management side of our business, and she's the one that deals with this kind of stuff much more than I do. So I'm kind of going into this a little bit. We're going to find out. We're going to educate. I'm going to be educated just the same along with the rest of you today. Okay, so we're hoping to ask Sam all the really tough questions. I see him smirking behind the scenes right now. So I'm just kidding, Sam. Don't worry. Okay, so I want you guys to do, though, those of you that are watching, I want you to throw your questions in the chat. If you have questions for Sam or Singlekey, throw them in the chat. We will try our best to answer those questions for you. Because there's a lot going on there, okay? And so as you think of certain questions or whatever, just throw them in the chat, and we will do our best to answer them, okay? So I will bring Sam on now, and we will get this started. So welcome to our Tactical Tuesday, Sam.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. I consider myself a Tactical Tuesday veteran at this point.
Yes.
Or at least I like to think so. So it's always nice to be here.
Well, I'll let you know that Tiffany is the easy one to deal with, and I'm going to grill you a little bit harder. Is that okay?
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to all of the very, very tough questions.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. So let's just start. I know that you guys were on recently. You went through and showed a whole bunch of information, what you guys are capable of doing and how you help investors and how you help landlords across the country. So let's just recap before we get into some of the new abilities that we're able to tap into with Singlekey. Why don't we just kind of start from the very beginning? Who are you guys and what do you do?
Well, I'll start with the why. So who we are is, I guess, irrelevant, but the why we do what we do is very relevant. So we started as a company from the standpoint that there's a lot of risk involved in renting out properties, and we wanted to reduce some of that risk, whether it be through screening tools, through an insurance product offering, or any other things that will help reduce risk overall for landlords. That's what we want to do. So we're not just a screening tool or just a rent guarantee program or any other number of things. And that's going to come out more and more as we progress as a company. There's some really exciting things. One that just got introduced this week. And we've got a lot more coming in the pipeline to help landlords, to help anyone that manages rental properties in the next 6 months and in the next year. So very exciting times.
That is very exciting. And as you know, as a property owner, as an investor, when we hear that companies are doing these types of things, and you know, the purpose of the company and the why, as you just brought out, is to make our lives as investors and landlords easier. that is a very welcome addition to the landscape here in our country. So thanks, first of all, for doing what you guys do. And so let's touch base on that a little bit. What are some of the key functions of Singlekey, and you know, how does somebody get involved with Singlekey?
Well, we're currently accepting applications, so we're hiring. We're going to be hiring quite a few people in the next few months. So if you know any talented people, developers, salespeople, marketing executives, send me their resumes. But seriously, though, the main functions that we take care of are: one, we offer, very biased, obviously, but I think the most incredible background credit check and general screening tool for tenants that's out there, especially in Canada today, and it's only getting better. We've got a big product update coming in the next couple of months for our screening tool, so that's exciting as well. And then we're the only real provider of rent guarantee insurance in Canada right now. There are a couple of other products that say that they provide rental insurance or rent guarantees, but really, once you lift the hood up, there's not much underneath there.
Okay, so let's touch on that a little bit, rent guarantee, and then we're also going to get to rent collection and rent collection tools. So those are two really big topics that are where do you want to start? Which one would you prefer to start with, rent collection or rent guarantees?
Well, I'll just walk through the rent guarantee quickly, and then we can go to the rent collection, which is the newer, more exciting toy at the moment. Sure. So our rent guarantee program was something we started just as the pandemic was rolling in, actually. While everyone else was getting out of it and taking away their rent guarantee programs, there were a few that existed out there. When the pandemic hit, they all got shut down, and we said, no, let's. You know, people are suffering. People want this help. Let's give it to them. So we were the only ones that came. Basically, you know, the imagery of the boat and the giant storm coming in. All the boats are going towards the port, and we head out to sea as the storm was coming in because we knew that there were boats stranded out there. So we were able to help a lot of landlords in that way, and we weren't doing it necessarily as a profitable enterprise, but as something to show people, to show landlords that, hey, we're here for you. We want to help. We want to be your provider. So we got extremely good feedback for that. What it does is basically you sign up for a rent guarantee program. It costs about 5% of your monthly rent, which can seem like a lot, but the risk right now in the marketplace is very, very high, obviously, with pandemic and everything. So we're keeping the price just where it needs to be so that we can offer it. Unfortunately, it's not lower at the moment. Hopefully, it will go down in the future, but that's what it is right now. It offers 12 months of rental replacement. So if your tenant doesn't pay, for up to 12 months while that eviction is happening, we'll replace that rent. $10,000 in willful damage to the property, and $1,500 in eviction fees and costs.
So you're telling me for 5% of gross rent, which is on $1,000, what? That's $50?
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah, $50 a month on $1,000 rent. I have a guarantee that if that tenant leaves or you know, wrecks my property in one way or another, I have insurance backing me up.
If they stop paying rent, if they leave in the middle of the night, where'd they go? We'll replace up to 2 months of rent for that situation. But if they just decide not to pay rent, less of a problem in Alberta, obviously, but in Ontario, in some other places, in BC, we've been seeing throughout the pandemic, lots of people just not paying their rent just because they didn't have to, and not because they lost their job or anything. Some, yes, obviously, but lots of people just not paying rent because, when it comes in, I'll do so. So as a landlord, you have to protect yourself from those situations. The government's not going to help you, unfortunately, and that's why we offer the program.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. I think that that's something that should be shouted from the rooftops, because to me, 5% seems extremely low to have those guarantees behind you, and so that's awesome. Okay, so that's the
one thing
guarantee.
I will say is something we just started offering last month that most people don't know about yet is we're now offering flexible coverage on the rent guarantee program. So if you would like, you say, you know what, I don't know, 5% is a little much, or I just want to kind of hedge my bets. You can choose 50% coverage. You can choose 75%, 25%, whatever it may be. And those numbers are obviously reflected directly in the coverage. So if we cover 12 months of rent, so on and so forth, or $1,000 of rent, you'd be covering 50% at 50%, and so on and so forth.
And do you have to have a minimum number of properties signed up with you guys to be able to do that? Or if I'm a landlord and I just have one property, or if I have 2 or 3, can I still take advantage of this?
Yeah, one property. The minimum is one property. You have to have one lease to sign up.
Okay. All right. So as long as we have one property, then we can sign up for these rent guarantees. So that's amazing. That really is.
And you can do it online directly from your Singlekey account. It's super simple to sign up. It takes about 5 minutes. Our qualification criteria is very, very simple. All you need is under 45% rent to income ratio and no bankruptcies in the last 3 years. Very simple.
Okay. Awesome. And does that apply for leases that I have in place already? So let's say I have 4 or 5 leases already. Can I sign them up so that I don't have to have these worries?
Yeah, that's a great question. As long as you have proof that they've paid rent in the last 12 months on time, you provide us with that proof. You don't need to provide us with a credit check or anything like that. It's automatic approval.
Okay, awesome. Okay, guys. Well, for all of you watching, that is a big feature, in my opinion, because here's the key is, oh, there we go. It's the key. It's a single key. Here's one of the keys, guys, to being a landlord and being an investor and staying in this business long enough for your property to start turning, cash flow into wealth. Your mortgage is paid down, your property goes up in value. To stay in the business long enough, we need to reduce the amount of stress we have. We need to reduce the amount of worries that we have. And if, it might cost us a little bit in our cash flow, but if we now can keep that property for 10 or 15 or 20 years instead of having to sell it after 3 or 4 years because we can't stand dealing with tenant issues, having a guarantee like this is so minimal in the grand scheme of things. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's move on then to what's new with Singlekey, and that's some rent collection tools. So let's hear about that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's self-explanatory to a certain extent. Rent collection happens electronically through EFT transfer, so bank transfer. What's exciting and new about this is, one, we're offering it for free for anyone that has up to 3 units. So up to 3 active leases, 100% free. After that, we're looking at, we don't have the pricing yet put together for more than 3 units, but we're looking at somewhere between $3 to $5 per unit after those initial 3 free ones. What's also very interesting is that we're offering, again, free of charge, up to 3 units, and included in that price I talked about before, rent reporting to credit bureaus as part of the rent collection tool. So you're collecting rent through our service, through our payment processor. We automatically know whether the rent came in or not, and we're reporting that to the credit bureaus.
All right. Why, for an investor, is it beneficial to have the rent reported to the credit bureau from an investor's point of view?
Yeah, well, it has a number of good sides. One is that extra pressure on the tenant. Mm-hmm. If I you know, I want to pay late this month, or I don't want to pay till next month, or so on and so forth. Usually, most places in Canada, I've got some leeway, right? Whereas with this, that late payment will be reported to the credit bureau, and so I'm that much less likely to pay late or not pay. And the other side is the carrot, which is if I do pay on time, my credit is built up. This is great for new Canadians as well. A lot of landlords, we have questions all the time about people that, tenants that are arriving, that are new to Canada. It's a great way for them to build up their credit.
Amazing. So that's it's good for both sides. That's a total win-win. Investor gets a benefit, a little extra pressure. This is being reported, but that's a benefit for the tenants as long as they're paying their rent on time. That's a benefit for them, like you said, they're building their credit. So
yeah, it's also a red flag for any tenants that don't agree with this. As you're signing your lease, you're putting through that application, and they go, "Oh no, I don't want this reported to credit bureau." Why not? Not planning on paying your rent?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a screening tool as well. So brilliant. Love it. So question from Sean. He says, I have 250 units. So if I have 250 doors, let's say, times $3 a door, it's going to cost him $750 to have all of those units rent collected. Is that kind of what we're hearing here, or that pricing isn't quite figured out yet, or where are you?
that pricing isn't quite figured out yet, and there's a few reasons for that. We're trying to negotiate with our suppliers on the rent payment processing for volume discounts. So up to, let's say, under 10 units, it will be around that $3 to $5 range. After that, well, first of all, Sean, congratulations on 250 units. That's amazing. If we had a little clapping hands function to float up, I'd trigger that. Congratulations. But yeah, we would be looking at probably quite a bit less than that with some volume discounts included in there.
Okay, awesome. We don't want to pump Sean too much, but yes, yeah, he's done a great job. So just to understand, because we're talking about units. So, another question here, I have one unit, but it has two rental doors. So I'm assuming it would have two leases. So is that considered one, or is that considered two out of the three?
So when I say unit, I mean door. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So door, lease, tenant, whatever. Yeah. Something along those lines. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So how does what does it mean that you're collecting the rent? Like, how does this work?
It's fairly simple, all things considered. You're signing up particular leases with that rent payment, so it's an automatic pad withdrawal, same way as predated checks would work, but just electronically, so you don't have to deal with the hassle of checks. That money goes straight into your account, so it doesn't sit in one account, then so on and so forth. And we're looking at right now delivery, so payment delay of 24 hours.
Oh, wow. So tenant pays the rent on, let's say, the first of the month. It's in our bank account on the second, maybe the third at the latest, kind of thing.
Yeah, so most payment processors will process in 3 to 5 business days. And we're looking at 24 hours to 48 hours tops.
Okay, amazing. So that's really, really good. Okay, so now what options then might that give the tenant? Does it give them other options on how they can pay their rent? Like, does it just get debited from their account, or do they pay by a credit card, or how does all that work?
Yeah, so we will be adding credit card functionality in the coming months. But at the moment, it's only debiting from the account. It's an automatic withdrawal, though. So the tenant doesn't have to do anything. There's no possibility of them forgetting, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I'm curious, for all of our listeners out there right now, how many of you are using Singlekey as of right now? And I'm also curious, for everybody listening and watching, how many of you, what does this sound like to you? for number one, you can have the option of having some rental guarantees. Number two, the new rent collection tool here, where we don't have to worry about checks. We don't have to worry about tracking down our tenants. It's automatically withdrawn from their accounts. It's automatically reported to the credit bureau. That benefits the tenant. That benefits you as a landlord. What are your thoughts on this? And the cost of this for your first 3 properties is absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a cent. I mean, I think this is amazing. Is there a catch? Am I missing something here, Sam?
Yes, there's a pretty huge catch. We do require your firstborn. But I mean, all things considered, we're providing a lot of value back for that. No, there's no catch. We're a young, hungry company that we love to change things up, change the landscape, especially here in Canada. There's a lot of things that are being done in the States in the real estate space, especially residential, that need to come up here. We need to do things better and provide more value for landlords as companies that work in this space. So we're just doing that, and we'll continue to do that. If you think this is great, wait till next year. We want to introduce a new product like this every 6 months. So amazing. We'll be working on that.
Okay. So some of the comments here, way to disrupt the market. That's awesome. You know, anytime a company is watching what's happening down in the US and then bringing some of those tools up to Canada, that is always welcome, because, you know, they tend to get a little ahead of us in some respects. I mean, it's a way bigger population, but this is amazing for Canadian landlords, Canadian investors to have these tools at their disposal, and for them to be free. Like here, we're talking, we can have the rent collected from our tenants on our first 3 properties absolutely free. When do you think
and reported to the bureaus?
And yeah. Exactly.
I just saw Sean's comment, Oilers fans not welcome. That is the catch. As a Habs fan, that I agree, Sean.
Oh, I wish I could mute Sean from here, because I'm an Oilers fan. So
I know I live in Grand Prairie, so I have to put up with Oilers fans.
I don't know. Somehow this topic comes up every single week I'm on here. But
we're Canadian.
But there we go. You have a special discount for Oiler fans, I heard. Anyone here within this group, there's a special discount for them as well. So let's just quickly mention that. It's not for Oiler fans, but it is if they're a part of Fearless and they're a Fearless member, which anyone in this group is. Tiffany was telling me that there's a 20% discount by using the coupon code Fearless20. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
We set that up before I came on the Tactical Tuesday last time, and it's still active. Julia just commented, I'm a Habs fan too. There we go, Julia. It's a rough season this year, Julia, so let's stick in there. But yes, Fearless20 is the code, active on singlekey.com. You just put it in before you make a purchase, and it'll auto save that code. So every time you make a purchase, you'll get.
Perfect. Love it. Even more of a discount for being a part of Fearless. So that's amazing. Okay, we've been talking hockey a little bit here. I do feel sorry for you that you're a Habs fan. I mean, it's been a rough one this year so far. So, yeah. And I was cheering for them. I will say that last year when they reached the finals, so I was cheering.
Yeah.
But that's
I don't think anyone wasn't. Even Leafs fans were cheering for us last year.
Yeah. Okay, so just to switch the sports, Tiffany is on her way to the soccer game tonight here in Edmonton, Canada versus Mexico. So I'm curious how many of you watching are going to be watching that tonight. She's going to be live in the stadium in the Canada support section. So she's that's why I'm doing the interview today, because she's braving the cold. It's like -10 and we got a foot of snow out there. So that should work in Canada's favor. Do you watch soccer at all?
I do. So my wife is Brazilian, so I have no choice but to watch soccer once in a while, or football. But yeah, absolutely. I wish I'm in Toronto at the moment. I go back and forth for work. Our offices are in Toronto. I live in Grand Prairie. I wish I was there. I would have gone down to Edmonton for the game for sure.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. Okay, a couple questions here that are thrown in the chat. Number one is, what happens? James is asking, what happens when a tenant doesn't pay rent? So what?
Yeah, so I think James is referring to the rent guarantee program. So if you're signed up for the rent guarantee program, it's pretty simple. Tenant doesn't pay, you make a claim like any other insurance. And we try to make it a simple claim, not like some other insurance companies. And then usually within 2 weeks of making that claim on the first month, we'll replace that rent for you. And then those months after, so the first month, the time for the claim takes usually about 2 weeks. And then any month after that, while you're evicting that tenant, then typically within the first couple of days of the month, we'll send that payment out to you. So it is paid out monthly, not a lump sum.
And when you say evicting the tenant, is that something that you guys take care of, or that's still the landlord investor's responsibility?
So it is the landlord or investor's responsibility. We do cover the costs, which typically in Canada are below $1,500. So that's usually enough to either do it yourself or hire a paralegal to take care of it for you.
Awesome. Okay. Hopefully that answered your question, James. Let's see. Okay, here's a good question. We use property management. How do you see this working in collaboration with the other services that property managers provide?
Yeah, that's a great question, Facebook user. It works well in conjunction. So property managers are great. If you're a hands-off investor, property management can be one of the best tools available. However, it doesn't guarantee that your tenant is going to pay their rent. That's something property managers don't like to highlight, but it can happen. As much as, you know, they're generally professionals that are good at screening tenants, at the end of the day, that risk is still there. So they are things that can work together, definitely. Having a property management company in place or a property manager working on your unit doesn't mean that your tenant necessarily will pay rent.
Yeah. All right. So this is kind of backup. It's helping you as the investor because you're the one that takes the bottom line, but it also is of assistance to the property managers. Have you guys, you know, do you work directly with property management companies?
That's a great question. You do have, I know you were saying at the beginning of this that you're going to ask some hard questions, but no really hard questions, but some very good questions, Corey. I'm very impressed.
Oh, thank you.
I'm not saying you're better than Tiffany, but
of course not. No.
But yes, we are actually working on that. We're in final talks with a company that does have representation across Canada. That's been the challenge up to now in finding that. And we are working on a partnership where we would be able to offer those services together, obviously at a discounted rate. Okay.
Awesome. Good. I think I've covered all the questions that we have here. Guys, if you have any more questions while we have Sam from Singlekey on our Tactical Tuesday tonight, throw them in the chat. If you have questions about the rental guarantees, if you have questions about signing up with Singlekey, or if you have questions about the rent collection that we've been talking about, throw it in the chat. Another one here. So is it only for tenants that has been paying for at least 1 year?
Or new leases as well. So yeah, it is also for new leases. It works for both. As long as they've been paying for 12 months, you can guarantee easily. There's no problem. We don't ask for any other qualification criteria. But if it's a new lease, then we do have that qualification criteria, which is rent to income ratio, household income, that is, of less than 45%, and no bankruptcies in the last 3 years.
So let's just simplify that and rental, the ratio of 45%. So if somebody makes $100,000, then they can't be paying more than $45,000 a year in rent. Is that essentially what it means?
Exactly. Okay. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're paying $45,000 a year in rent, I would like to come over and visit your place.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. Okay, so Sean is asking what is currently available and what is coming and when. So I think he's just a little confused. The rent collection is currently available, correct? It's just that you guys are still figuring out the cost of more than 3 units. So if people want, let's say, and there's a lot of our viewers right now that might have 10, 50, 100 units, and they're wondering, you know, when is it going to be available for me to sign up? What would you say?
Yeah, so it is available currently. It's defaulting at the moment to a $5 per unit price, but we're actively negotiating with our suppliers to bring that down. So hopefully within the next week, even that will come down. And I would say if you have more than 10 units, get in touch with us, and we can see about some volume pricing.
Okay, awesome. So where do they get a hold of you guys if they want to get in touch with you?
Yeah, What's so you can send an email to info@singlekey.com, or just go on the website. We're very active on the little chat bot that pops up on the website. The first couple of questions are a robot, so just don't get mad at me and say, "Oh, you said there was someone there." But it will send you to someone in the company, and we're there. We actively chat with people on the website.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. Tori is asking a question, and I know that it's, for some reason the stream has been cutting out for some people, but he's asking if I bought a home this week, I can't qualify for the rent guarantee. I believe he can still get the rent guarantee with a new tenant. You clarified that.
Yeah,
already.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even if it was last month that you started a lease, get in touch with us, and we'll find a way to make it work generally.
Perfect. I really like a couple of the things that you've said so far today, in the fact that, you know, you're kind of like, we're trying to work with you guys. We're trying to work with you investors. We're trying to build our business here, and, you know, get in touch with us and we will make something work. A lot of us, you know, look at a larger company and they say, well, you know, I'm just a number within that company. But it sounds like, you know, we can kind of get in touch with you guys, and you'll work with us, and you'll come to some sort of middle ground that'll work as far as costs or whatever it is that we need. And I've noticed you mentioned that a couple times so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, we want to offer great products at a good price to landlords and investors. That's why we're here. Yeah. We don't want to be just one other company out there. We want to stick out, and if you've seen our Google reviews, we have a 4.9% Google review on about 400 reviews. So we work really hard for that. That's not chance. We answer questions. We're there for our customers. We offer value constantly. We're always banging at the door to offer more value. And that's what we're trying to do here with the rent collection tool as well.
Awesome.
And Samir you can see from the circles under my eyes that we work hard for you guys.
Unbelievable. Good on you. Way to go, Sam. Do tenants and landlords get auto reminders if the rent is not paid at the beginning of the month? So let's say that there's an NSF, there's not enough money in the account, it can't grab it. How does that work?
They'll get notified, yeah. They don't get auto reminders to pay the rent because it's taken out automatically. But if there is an NSF or anything, they'll get a notification about that, definitely.
Okay, perfect. That answers Samir's question. Interesting question. Trevor.
Does it work with students?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Easy answer. Marie is asking if you can repeat what is offered with the insurance. So that I'm assuming the rent guarantee, Marie, is what you're referring to. So maybe just repeat what that rental guarantee is. I know we kind of cut out at that point, so maybe you can just repeat that.
Yeah, no problem. So it covers up to 12 months of rent replacement. So if your tenant doesn't pay, we offer up to 12 months of coverage where we replace that rent while we're getting that tenant, or working with you to get that tenant evicted. Then $10,000 in willful damage to the property, and $1,500 in legal costs or eviction costs.
All right. So let's say the tenant stops paying a rent. 4 months later, they're evicted. Then that's when the payments would stop. They wouldn't continue for 12 more months, correct?
Well, it would be 12 months total. So no, it wouldn't go 4 months plus another 12. But no, once the tenant is evicted, that's it. We stop the payments.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. All right. And can you please speak? So Angie here is asking, I'm going to put this on the screen. Oh, maybe I won't. It's too big. Can you please speak to your tenant screening assurance-ish? Okay. We understand that you rate prospective tenants based on their background checks. One of our real estate friends has said that you recently implemented some sort of guarantee on your background checks. Is there anything like that?
That's an interesting one. I'm a little confused at what they're getting at, but I believe Angie's asking about our background, our guarantee. Yeah, so the rent guarantee insurance is what I think Angie's referring to, which is what we just spoke about.
Yeah.
So yeah, it covers rental income.
She did clarify after about the rent. That is the rent guarantee you're speaking about. So I think you might have answered that question already. So
there we go.
Okay. That question was answered as well. So from the time the rent comes out of the tenant's account to when it's deposited into your account, 24 hours, maybe 48 at the most, which you mentioned, Sam, is a lot quicker than most other payment processors, which is absolutely the truth. So that's amazing. Yeah. So who is backing? So this is a good question, Trevor. He says, sorry to get personal, but how long have you been running this insurance program? It seems too good to be true. So is it Singlekey themselves that is backing this insurance program, or what do you guys have behind you?
No, I wish it was. We'd get a better deal. But no, it's we're reinsured through Lloyd's of London. So we have to pay through the nose for that. Okay. Big name insurance company. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So hopefully that answers your question, Trevor. It is really good. And that's why I'm asking Sam, what's the catches here? Because, everything is sounding
It's funny
really
because
good.
we hear both things. So I'll hear within the same day, wait, this seems too good to be true. How are you guys offering this for so little money? And also, this is too expensive. I'm not interested. So it really depends on your situation. We think it's a great deal. We think it provides a lot of value, and we've had a lot of interest because of that. But it really just depends on what your level of risk is, and what you're interested in. I mean, it's like buying a car. You could walk into a Honda dealership and say, wow, that Civic is at a great price. My God. Or you could say, oh, what are you talking about? My horse costs me less. I don't know. Right. It's a bad metaphor, but it's all perspective, I guess. But I think it's a great deal. And on top of it, I didn't mention this before, but it is tax deductible. There's no tax on top of it because it's an insurance product. And it is tax deductible. So if your property is running relatively well, you can write off a good part of this.
Awesome. Amazing. So I was going to say something that you mentioned, and now I just lost it. So we'll move on. But good question from Samir. Is this available in Quebec, or where do you guys cover in Canada?
So all our products are available across Canada except the rent guarantee. It's not offered in Quebec because of different insurance rules. Okay. Unfortunately. As a Quebec boy, I wish we were offering it. Sorry, Samir.
Okay. But the rent collection can still be done in Quebec?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Everything else.
So all your products work in Quebec except for the rent guarantee?
Exactly.
Okay. Excellent. And Nikki is asking who sets the rents, you guys or the landlord? I'm assuming the landlord sets the rents. Like
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You set your rent. We just work around that.
Yeah. Okay, good. Awesome. And again, just if you can repeat for me, was it info at Singlekey?
info@singlekey.com. But honestly, the best way is to just go on our website and speak with our chat bot. There's usually someone there between the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. And so that's very easy. Otherwise, if there's no one there available, you leave a message and we'll get back to you the next day.
Perfect. Singlekey.com. Jules put it in the chat. They're also, our team here, Nin and Jules, are going to put in the link to our previous interview that you did with Tiffany. For those of you that missed it, a lot more detail was done behind the scenes with Singlekey and what they do. Today's focus is mainly really talking about the rent guarantee. We've been talking a lot about that, a lot of interest in that from our viewers, and also the free rent collection tools that seem to be quite amazing, too good to be true, but it seems to be true. So, but somewhere for your first 3 properties, guys, it's absolutely free. And then after that, it's going to be somewhere between $3 and $5, depending on volume, per property, per door, per lease. So that's pretty amazing in my opinion. And I think something that needs to be stressed to all of us investors out there is that this business, and we've talked about this a million times, but this business can be stressful. Dealing with tenants can be stressful. Dealing with realtors and mortgage brokers and lawyers and buyers and sellers and everybody that we deal with in this business, so that we can buy these properties, own these properties, and increase our net worth. We do all of this work. There's a lot of stress involved with it, though. If we can find little ways and avenues that reduce the amount of stress that we have, if we can find for $3, $4, $5 a month, we can now have a rent collection tool that gets the rent directly from the tenant's bank account into ours, or is absolutely free for our first few properties. Why wouldn't we use it? It's going to make our life easier. If we can add products to our portfolio that are going to guarantee the rent coming in, guarantee that if a tenant stops paying the rent, we're still getting that income so we can pay those mortgages. These are stresses that can keep us up at night. These are stresses that us as investors who have owned multiple properties for many years, we go through sleepless nights sometimes worrying about some of this stuff. So if we can take that worry and remove it and put it aside and have an insurance product protecting us for that, or have a collection tool collecting the rent for us, if we can have these many features, and Sam, you mentioned there's many more things coming in the near future, and we're excited to hear about those when they do come. But all of these things just reduce the amount of stress. And not only are they good for us, but I love the fact that you also brought out that, reporting the credit bureau is good for our tenants. We're helping to build up their credit as long as they're paying on time. And that's an added bonus that, if we're just collecting the rent by a check, we're not reporting to the credit bureau. Their credit is not being improved. We're not really helping them out. So if this is another way we can help out our tenants as well, then that's of great benefit too.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And on the point of helping tenants, I mean, a personal story I mentioned before, my wife is from Brazil, the soccer and yada, yada, yada. But she would have loved this product when she arrived in Canada. It took her almost 2 years or a year and a half or so in order to be able to get a credit card, a student credit card, when she arrived, in order to start building up credit. So a product like this would have really helped her out.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of our tenants are coming from, in migration from other countries around the world, and it's difficult for them to get going, like you just mentioned. So if we can be of assistance in that area, why wouldn't we, right? So
absolutely.
Jules says he gushes when he talks about his wife.
Well, anyone who knows me knows how in love I am with my wife. She was actually has called me 3 times during this. So,
That's awesome.
I was going to say, actually, I have one little tidbit of stuff that's coming down the pipeline that I'll share. This is a Fearless Premier exclusive event here.
Here we go.
This hasn't been announced anywhere yet. Actually, outside of the company, you guys are the first to know this. We're going to be partnering up very soon with a company called MoveSnap, which is out of RBC Ventures. They offer a service, a moving concierge service. We're going to be including that in the platform soon. It will help your tenants as they're moving. So you sign a new lease, tenants onboarding, and you say, hey, here's, as a landlord or as an investor, here's a service that I offer to help you out with your move. And if they get into trouble or if they're having problems, they do offer a sort of white glove moving concierge to help them on their moving day, help them prepare for their moving, switching their accounts over, post office, this, that, all of those things that are such a hassle for tenants when they're moving. So a great way to help landlords make their tenants' lives easier and start that relationship off well.
Amazing. Love it. Fearless Premier exclusive announcement, Nin says here. So thank you, Sam, for sharing that. That's exciting. And these are the types of things that we all get excited about as investors because, hey, it makes our life easier. It makes the tenant's life easier. Why wouldn't we get excited about that? That's
we
awesome.
Sometimes forget that tenants are clients. They're our clients. We want to have a good relationship with them. They're making us money. We want them to be happy. We want that relationship to exist well. So we're going to do as much as we can to help now and in the future to help landlords create beautiful, long-lasting, beneficial relationships with their tenants.
Absolutely. Love it. And that's something that a lot of people miss in this whole equation of investing is, you know, like you said, our number one clients are our tenants. If we treat them well, I mean, they pay us tens of thousands of dollars every single year, and they leave and expect nothing in return. You know, so like, what other business can you have clients like that that will pay you that much money and expect nothing when they leave? So
it's the biggest purchase that they make every year.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So if we can do these extra little things to make their lives easier, why wouldn't we? It's only going to help that relationship, as you mentioned, Sam. So
yeah, there's a question here from Facebook.
Sam, we got to get off here soon, but one last question. Does this work for renting to an organization rather than to a person?
Yeah, so I imagine what this Facebook user is asking is for commercial leasing. So no, we don't do commercial lease screenings. However, we do have many people that use us to screen the principals of a commercial company that's renting out. So Acme company is looking to rent out one of my commercial spaces. John Smith and April Smith are the principals of that company. You can do screenings on individuals in that company.
Okay, and I'll just add to that question because I know that we've had it before. What if it was like a relocation company? It is a residential lease, but you know, like a relocation company, or maybe it's a city program that is helping somebody out, and so they're the ones that are actually on the lease versus the tenant themselves. Would it work for like that type of an organization, even if it was residential and not commercial? Or
no? So the screening does only work on individuals.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, we'll leave it at that, Sam. We've filled almost an hour here talking about rent guarantees, talking about rent collection tools that you guys at Singlekey provide, and all the other things coming down the pipeline we're excited to hear about as well. There's so many tools here, guys. I would implore you, if you are an investor, if you are a landlord, if you own or are planning to own investment properties here in Canada, you absolutely need to check out Singlekey, sign up for an account. If you enter Fearless 20 into your account, and you're going to get a 20% discount. it's going to reduce stress. It's going to reduce headaches. In fact, I have your website spooling next to me here on the other screen. Take the headaches out of renting. Take the stress out of renting. That's what this is about, guys. If we can do that, why wouldn't we? It's going to make us last longer. Yes, it might cost us a few dollars per month out of our pocket now, but it could mean tens or hundreds of thousands or more down the road if we happen to hold on to these properties long enough, because our stress level has been low enough during that period of time. So use these types of services, guys. And there we go. I appreciate you coming on, Sam, and sharing these exciting things, these exciting tools with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I look forward to coming back again once we have a new product to discuss. Shouldn't be too long, so I look forward to providing more value to your members soon.
Perfect. Love it. Okay, and we will definitely have you on then. Maybe it'll be me and Tiffany at the same time. We'll see. But thanks for coming.
Maybe we could even do it live together in Edmonton.
Maybe we can do that. That would be great. Okay, and one last thing before we go, Sam. I just want to say, go Oilers, and take care, all right?
Sounds good. Take care. Ciao.
There we go, guys. There we go. Another Tactical Tuesday from talking about making our lives easier. That's what this is about, making the stress level less. So check out Singlekey. Go there now, singlekey.com. If you haven't already signed up, do it. And check out some of the services that they have to offer. Remember to enter the code FEARLESS20 to get your discount. All right, guys. Thanks for all the questions too, helping me out with this. This is property management is Tiffany's side of the business, but with all the great questions that you guys had on here, that certainly made it a lot easier. So yeah, there we go. We will see you again next week, guys. We have an awesome topic coming up next week as well. And we will see our Ignited members over in our laser session here in about 5 minutes. All right, take care, guys.